Kamala Harris lost the black vote and as a result lost the election. No, I am not being hyperbolic. Yes, I have the numbers and the facts. You have people out there who are reading graphs that they don't even really understand, attempting their first time in life, attempting to do math and failing at it ridiculously. You will be brought the numbers and the information here tonight that makes it unquestionable. However, before we do, a checkup on the mental health of the nation.
I'm sorry. No. Why? Why? Do you really hate me that bad? I'm sorry. No.
It's getting rough out there, and it's about to get a lot rougher.
Donald Trump is president, and I think all women should stop having sex for the next 4 years, in protest and protection of your bodies. As we know, if that little baby inside you gives you any trouble and you need an emergency health care, you're fucked and you're gonna die. I think that is sufficient enough reason to stop having sex. Don't you agree? This vote wasn't a vote for Americans. This vote was for men. And unless we want to become the Handmaid's Tale, then us women need to protest because this is some buttery bullshit. I'm sorry to the women and minorities who aren't going to get the help that they need in the next 4 years. I'm sorry for the people who are impoverished, who are just going to keep dying from starvation and lack of healthcare and lack of governmental support. People are actually praising this guy, and it's a freaking joke. Look at the states he won. You won't catch me there. You'll catch me in New York City. And I'm sorry to all the women who are going to suffer in these bumpkin-ass, small-ass little towns because of this. Reason why I'm a New Yorker and always will be. Fuck Florida. Donald Trump is president.
Okay. This young lady here says, or I think young lady. Well, anyway, Rick Rosalind here has decided that they are going to swear off sex, and if I can get that from her, him, it in writing, that'll be sufficient enough for me. But if you think that the breakage has been limited to just some mentally and emotionally unhinged ladies over there, oh no, wait till you see what's happening on the other side of the street over there in Latino land.
Latinos for Trump, it is time to embrace the consequences of your actions. I've always been a firm believer of fighting fire with fire. If somebody goes low, I'll go lower. Now, with that being said, I know for a fact that most Latinos for Trump have undocumented family members, whether that be their parents, siblings, aunts, uncles, etc. So if you know of a Latino who voted for Trump, I urge you to call this number and report said family members. It's time that these Latinos for Trump get a taste of their own medicine and a taste of poetic justice. Now, I know what you may be thinking, Angel, this is extreme. And I agree, but extreme problems call for extreme solutions. And unfortunately, many innocent people are going to be affected by this, but you can't be that innocent if you raised a Latino for Trump. And before all of the Latinos for Trump come at me all angry, this is what you wanted. This is what you voted for. You should be happy. Let me see that smile. But there you have it, guys. Once again, there is that number. You know what to do. It's time that these Latinos for Trump learn the hard way. But anyways, let me know what you guys think.
Yes, sir. You thought TikTok, just when you thought it was safe to go back on TikTok, that's when this kind of stuff here gets kicked off. So, man, oh man, it's getting rough out there. It has gotten rough. This has escalated outrageously quickly. So just in case you thought it was safe to go back into politics, hell no. So what's happening over there on the political side of things? What's happening on the political side of the arena? Well, folks are looking for somebody to sling up under the bus. Nancy Pelosi has come out and has immediately grabbed Joe Biden and said, under this damn bus, they're running out of room under the bus that they're throwing people under. She blamed Joe Biden for not getting out of the race soon enough, even though she's the one who shivved him in the back. So she's blaming him. David Plouffe, former campaign manager for Barack Obama, who jumped in there to help Harris, he deleted his whole Twitter. What? I mean, he just deleted his whole damn Twitter. So he made a comment about them being in a deep hole. He didn't mention Biden by name, but he said we had a big hole to dig ourselves out of. And now he's just deleted his entire Twitter account. So I don't blame him. Take a mental health break. You definitely want to go ahead and do that. Ramifications are swinging far and wide, folks. New York City. Eric Adams, right after Trump is elected, has now announced that they are going to end their debit cards for illegals program. Damn! That took absolutely no time. They have announced we're going to end our debit cards for illegals program. Just that quickly. Trump comes in, boom, illegals go out there. Although they're going to find this to be a bit challenging because this just in, a judge has ruled that New York cannot stop the buses from Texas with all the illegals. What? A judge has ruled that New York can't stop the buses. Eric Adams then took it to court. They said you can't bring folk into the state. There's an old 200-year-old law that says you can't bring folk in the state for the purpose of being poor, for the purposes of dumping them off somewhere. And now a judge has said, oh, yes, you can. You can't use that. So that's antiquated and unconstitutional. So let the buses roll on. Greyhound is 58 or less. So there's no more debit cards, but there will still be plenty of folk coming to New York City. Plenty of people will be coming, and I'm assuming that when they get there, well, these will be their dating options when they arrive.
Auntie, chill!
Yes, sir. Rick Rosalind here is going to be waiting to greet them when they all come filing off of the buses there, so they'll have that going for them. And just in case you thought that Jason was being hyperbolic, yes, indeed, the Daily Beast is confirming what I said the whole time, that George Clooney is being blamed by Democrats for turning on Biden. So the circular firing squad is shooting at each other all the way around. I know I'm dropping a whole lot on you all really quickly here. So much has happened, but this is the 720 degrees of comprehensive analysis that you'll receive absolutely nowhere else. So just in case you thought that George Clooney was escaping unscathed, oh no, I warned you all that this would happen. And sure enough, it's in full swing. So everybody is catching a fade this week here, as they are all looking to blame each other. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at analysis now. There are some folks who want to give their analysis of it. And I think that's actually a very good thing to do. Why don't we go and see if we can talk to Kamala Harris's old boo, Willie Brown. Folks, Willie Brown is 90 years old. 90. However, I guess some devious folk there stay sharp right up until the very end. He was asked about the election loss and what happened on the Times. Fair use, by the way, the Times, fair use. Found this to be very interesting what he had to say.
Was there not enough about dealing with the cost of living? I mean, Kamala Harris did talk about that. Where did she hit a sour note? Where were they blind to the reality of the voters they were talking to?
I think coming out of the box, from the time it became clear that there might be a problem with Biden, the conversations should have taken place as to how to fix that problem. Biden may have been a better candidate to fix that problem for Democrats, but we didn't do that. We went all over the board. We went to go to try to get the college graduates that live in the suburbs. We did all the things that are inconsistent with real doorbell ringing and real ordinary people. We were not even the advocates for no tax on tips in restaurants and things of that nature. We really didn't have a message for our voters, and our voters, in many cases, like among the Latinos and among some blacks, decided to saddle up with Trump. And believe me, some aspects of organized labor did saddle up with Trump. So we Democrats need to go back to the planning board and literally start all over.
So you're saying?
I mean, folks are saying we need to have a reboot, sweep the board clean. You're hearing a lot of that going on. Hearing a lot of that happening. Yeah, he looks good for 90 years old. He got hoes to chase.
And deal with it, nigga.
Yes, sir. He's got a hoes to chase. So I guess Viagra is keeping him young. He got young bros to go chase, so he can't sit up here and age out. But Listen to what he says next.
Aren't you, that the Democratic campaign behind Kamala Harris, maybe it talked down to working people in the United States. Maybe it seemed as if it was too much about the elites telling people what was good for them instead of siding with people about what was good for middle America.
In the world of politics, the first thing you have to learn and be committed to is to listen. You've got to hear what the people are saying.
Right.
Don't tell the people what they need to know. Don't tell them that they need a Tesla automobile because it's electric.
That's a straight shot at Gavin Newsom right there.
Those people, our voters, are the people who are buying used cars, not Teslas and cars of that nature.
Oh boy, I'm telling you, the extreme left over there, those leftist socialists are now swiping at each other, talking about, damn them electric cars. Don't do the we ain't trying to do that right now. Our voters can't do no electric cars. Oh boy. So that's cutting the knees out from under Gavin Newsom.
Our people were doing what they have always done, and we left them because we didn't hear them. And when Trump was a terrible person in every way, literally acted as if he heard them, talked about what they were thinking, let them know that they didn't have to be a college graduate to be a part of what his movement was about. And he really bushwhacked us. He really got us in all categories. And it's the worst defeat in all of my 70, 75 years of politics. I have never experienced such a worse defeat.
So the worst defeat you've seen in 3/4 of a century. Did you...
Getting rough down there. Hell of a note there. 90 years old. His old side chick couldn't carry the ball, though. She wasn't ready to carry the ball. It wasn't going so great over there. So Willie Brown is weighed in. He's not happy. They're throwing each other under the bus over there. Like I said, it's running out of room. It's running out of room over there. Running out of room. Should have stopped there, but it's not going to stop there. Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks has been on the warpath. The list of people getting blamed is getting longer. And he's just like, man, damn everybody.
Yeah. So first of all, blaming the American voters is nuts. Totally nuts. It's not their fault. It's your candidate's fault. It's your party's fault. It's your leadership's fault. So Jamie Harris said, how dare he even talk about this? What a miserable failure. Losing to Donald Trump twice. And he's at the head of the DNC when they lose this time. I think he should drink a tall glass of shut-up juice, probably for the rest of his life. How dare he talk out about how other people cost the election? Brother, take some personal responsibility. Let me tell you who else is responsible for this loss. Joe Biden. The guy's obviously senile, stayed in the race anyway because of his gigantic ego. We should have had a real primary and picked the strongest Democrat that's going to fight for American voters, not blame American voters. And let me tell you something that no one on TV has said yet. Kamala Harris was a historic failure. We're all like playing footsie here and, oh my God, we don't want to offend the powerful person. She was the candidate. The voters aren't the problem. Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, Jamie Harrison, and the Democratic leadership are the problem. For God's sake, turn around. Stop taking all the donor money and doing only what the donors want. For once in your life, remember your voters. Stop insulting your base.
All right.
Going after Latino men and black men and white women. I'm sick of it.
John.
So Cenk Uygur is like, man, damn all of them. Everybody. Jamie Harris, get your big round Eminem head built ass out of here. Cenk is actually one of the few people who actually called Jamie out by name. As you all know, I've been on Jamie's back, ever since they elevated him. When the Democrats were doing well, he was supposed to be the window dressing because they figure, okay, we're going to have easy wins. Now that they losing, oh, guess who's going to catch the blame now? So, yeah, that happened. Yeah, that happened. But a recap of this would not be complete It would not be complete in any fashion if I didn't bring in our old friend Bowling Ball Martin. Damn! Yes, sir. If you thought I was going to leave him out, you thought wrong. And by the way, if you all agree with our comprehensive analysis of what's going on here tonight, give me the black fist emoji in the chat room and hit the likes button for me. It's over 4,000 people in here live in just the first 15 minutes. But if you all agree with our analysis of the events here tonight as they unfold, hit the likes button for me and give me the black fist emoji in the chat room, or we'll wrap it up early. We've had a whole lot to say. I was already on election night for a few hours, but we do have a lot of ground to cover. Hopefully we'll go ahead and get to do that. Roland Martin, fair use. Butterball, fair use. Roland Martin, one of the people who is chiefly responsible for this, Roland Martin wants to weigh in. A guy who has summarily proven that he is unqualified and incapable of discussing these subjects, but as usual, when things crash and burn, all of a sudden Roland becomes born again black first. But I want to give you all three guesses here. I want you all to guess why Roland says they lost the election, because he's about to tell you why. But I want to give you all three guesses as to what Roland is going to say the problem is and what Roland's going to say the Democrats, quote, should have done. Anybody want to hazard a guess what the first thing is he's going to say that they should have done? Now, I'm going to play this thing. Not going to play the whole thing, but I want you all to guess, what do you think is the cause that he's going to say that they lost? What is he going to say the reason is? Don't believe me. Listen for yourselves. This is starting the video from the very beginning.
The next leader of the Democratic National Committee has to come in with a big-ass trash can. I think the next leader of the Democratic National Committee has to make it clear that there are consultants and folks under contract who should be given their walking papers.
Now he's talking about Jamie Harrison now, DNC chairman. He's talking about when they next one. Okay, well, Jamie's the one now. You don't want him back? Oh, clearly he doesn't. And what he's talking about, the consultants, the media people that they pay. First thing out of his mouth is the same thing he always says. Y'all should have been paying me.
There are consultants and folks under contract who should be given their walking papers. Because the advice and the counsel that was given was shameful. The DNC, even though the DNC chair cannot control PACs, Future Forward needs to get called out. How are you the designated PAC for the campaign? And I travel this country, and I was in battleground states, and I was watching television and listening to radio, and y'all supposedly were running the stuff. It was amazing how I ain't see it. But I saw lots of Make America Great Again PAC and Trump campaign commercials.
Commercials. Oh, ad spending. So what is Roland telling you within the first 60 seconds? Y'all should have gave him that ad money. The same answer he always gives to everything. It's not their policies that were the problem. It's not their weirdo crazy positions that are the problem. It's not a flawed candidate that's the problem. It's y'all didn't give him enough money. If he had been in charge of your promotion and your marketing and propaganda, then you would have won the election. If he were running it, if you give him the money. This is like that reverse Sally Struthers thing, feed the children in Africa by giving the money to this white woman. Well, Roland's like, hey, we can help the white folk. Yeah, hey, white folk, give the money to me and I can fix that for you.
So I think that's one. Two, you've got to have a leader who can communicate in the streets and the suites. Mm-hmm. You've got to have somebody who is aggressive enough to go on media outlets and not just MSNBC.
Oh, is that you, Roland? Are you the spokesperson who is aggressive enough to go into other outlets? People, this is Roland auditioning for a job. The only thing he's telling the Democrats they did wrong is they didn't let him run things, and he's not their spokesperson. If you all had let him do the talking, because he did such a great job, remember? So he said, if you had given me the money and given me the microphone, then you would have won the election. This literally in the first 60 seconds, this is what he's telling you. If you would just let him do the talking and him do the spending.
You've got to have somebody who is aggressive enough to go on media outlets and not just MSNBC, but showing your ass up to this show, to Sirius XM radio shows, going to other digital shows and podcasts, and actually having a media strategy.
Yeah.
It means hiring a team to put back together the black political infrastructure that was obliterated when Obama was president.
What? Blew your ears a little bit there, but by the way, I just couldn't help. I'll be damned. So Roland is taking a full frontal assault on Barack Obama? Folks, this is historic. Straight out of the gate, he goes on a full frontal assault against Barack Obama by name? By name. He comes for him by name. And remember, I told you this was going to happen. Every time Roland gets upset, every time he doesn't get what he wants after an election, he throws a couple of shots at the Democrats to let them know that he can do it. Remember, I told you he did this before in 2020 and 2022. He did it in 2016. He did it in 2020. He did it in 2022. So he'll do that when he doesn't get his way. And I told you that was going to happen. So this time, he's gone a bit further than he's ever gone. Oh, he names Obama by name. So when I told you all that Obama's political relevance was dead, gone, and finished, clearly I'm not the only person who thinks that. I wasn't just saying it. Even Roland is like, yeah, he's not afraid to call him out. He's not afraid of the wrath. It's like, Obama, you couldn't get Kamala over the line. You've already shown you're powerless. So Roland is putting it out there.
That has to happen as well. And you also have got to have a DNC. And that's the DNC. Republicans are going to control the Senate. Democrats, Chuck Schumer cannot be the minority leader.
Oh, yeah.
I don't give a damn how much money Chuck Schumer can raise. Chuck Schumer no longer can be the Democrat minority leader.
What took you so long, Roland? He's had that big pie face shoved up them white folks' asses all this time. What took you so long to say this, Roland? What took you so long? Now you can name names? Now you can call out old money Democrats? Yeah, because they let you know they ain't never gonna drop a dime for you. Just understand, folks, why he's really doing this. He's only doing this now because they made it clear these are the folk who control the purse strings, and they are never gonna drop no money to him. Never. That's the reason why he's trying to act buck now. Nancy Pelosi and George Clooney were able to get $1 billion mobilized for Kamala Harris. They didn't throw $20 his way. So Roland is taking shots at them because they ain't dropped no change on his side of the fence. Ain't nobody pulled up the Brinks truck to drop off the bag for him. So now he thinks he's got a wide open lane to go ahead and take shots at these folk. Straight up. Now, we've been doing this since day one and not looking for a bag. We've been doing this since day one. So just understand, he's not really sincere on our side of things, this is all self-serving. His only real issue is they ain't did what he wants them to do. For him. If they did, he wouldn't have a complaint. He wouldn't be complaining. So he's just venting because he realizes they're never going to give him no money. So he figures it's now or never. He's going to go ahead and take a shot at him.
In the United States Senate, be the Democrat no longer can be the Democrat minority leader in the United States Senate. His time is done.
Yep.
On the House side, I don't want to see Nancy Pelosi's ass again on television doing interviews. It's time for you to go. Hakeem Jeffries is not. If Democrats regain the House, he becomes a majority. He becomes Speaker of the House. If Republicans control it, he's the minority leader. Nancy, it's time for you to go home to your husband. No. No, I'm saying that for a reason.
Because you're salty.
Because you have to understand, you cannot continue to have 75, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82-year-old people laying out your strategy when you're trying to reach demos, and when Nancy goes and she don't do black media, because she damn sure didn't do black media when I asked was speaker. But she'll hop on MSNBC show, and thank goodness we ain't gonna see her on Andrea Mitchell, because Andrea Mitchell tired ass done with her show.
So Roland is upset because they didn't come to see him. Roland's upset because he hasn't gotten what he wanted. Roland sees this as his opportunity to go ahead and take them to task because they haven't come and bent the knee and kissed the ring on his program. Remember, he did this in 2020 with Kamala Harris, remember? He was flogging her and taking her to task because she didn't come to speak to him, remember? He did this in 2020. He always does this when they don't come and speak to him after the election is over. So he's just rinsing and repeating what he's done before. This is actually not new, although he has stepped this up to a whole new level of aggression. So he's certainly done that. He's gotten a lot more aggressive with this one right here. He's making his pathetic attempt at some bass in his voice, is going about as well as it can be expected from him. Well, that's what Roland's throwing out there now. So he's naming everybody. Obama. He didn't name Jamie Harrison, but he did say the chairman of the DNC. So Jamie Harrison, Obama, Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi. Oh, Roland is throwing them ham hock arms. He's windmilling them ham hock arms around at everybody.
I'm saying this because you cannot put new wine in old wineskins. You cannot have these folks who are still trying to use a playbook that's 20, 25 years old when literally what is facing us is totally different.
That's true.
It simply cannot happen. And this is also the moment where the Congressional Black Caucus has to truly wield its power.
Now, listen to this part here because he gives you all a statistic about them. Listen to what he says about the Congressional Black Caucus.
The moment where the Congressional Black Caucus has to truly wield its power and put some of your fellow Democrats' asses in line. You are the largest caucus in the Democratic Party. What?
So first he tells you that they need to be putting some folks' asses in line, and then tells you, by the way, you're the largest caucus in the Democrat Party. The largest caucus in the Democratic Party that does absolutely nothing. they might as well not exist. They exist in name only. They might as well not be there. And yet they are the largest caucus. And yet they do absolutely nothing. Now that is a damning commentary to give. Absolutely damning.
Congressional Black Caucus has to truly wield its power and put some of your fellow Democrats' asses in line. You are the largest caucus in the Democratic Party. You should be setting the agenda. You should be leading the fight. And then we start talking about all of these different groups, CBC PAC, and all these other PACs and groups.
Back to the money.
What the hell are y'all gonna be funding?
Back to the money again. Where you want them to spend that money at, Roland? Y'all, do you see how in just a couple of minutes he's brought it full circle? Now it's back to the money. And about these PACs, we be spending all this money right here. What y'all doing? The only answer that he would approve of is if you give the money to him. But oh yeah, by the way, this microphone of the New Black Media, as the anchorman of the New Black Media, y'all know I've been on the Congressional Black Caucus's ass since my very first day. It is so obvious that they should have been the central target. But you see, I'm not owned by a political party, nor am I jockeying for their favor, their money, or anything else from them except to bend the knee. Roland Martin, however, is looking for a job and some money flicked off the table. So things that we have all had the luxury of being able to say from day one, he's been too cowardly and too weak and powerless to say anything because he's looking to get bought off. And it didn't happen because it can't. So now that he's accepting that that's not going to happen, now he's sitting up here flailing his arms and windmilling at people and telling the Congressional Black Caucus he's 20 years late to the damn party. We've been doing this now going on 2 decades, 20 years late to the party. And now, after a disastrous presidential election, now he wants to call out the Congressional Black Caucus at late long last. He's finally willing to do what we've been doing since day one, which is why I told you all, every time Roland gets upset with the Democrats, all of a sudden he starts talking like the New Black Media. All of a sudden, he starts talking like a very weaker version of Jason Black. But all of a sudden, he starts echoing exactly the talking points and the positions we've had all along. Now, he wasn't saying this a week ago. He wasn't saying this a month ago. He wasn't saying this 2 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. Now, all of a sudden, they lose the election and he's born again on our side of the fence saying exactly what we've been saying the entire time. He's finally figured it out after the election's over. No, we don't believe you.
Politico dropped the story, somebody leaked it, that the CBC offered up a $10 million proposal to the Harris campaign to do a bus tour and to help out, invest in 2 groups to help these various House races. It wasn't the Harris's campaign job to help you win House races. That's what you were supposed to do. And the campaign turned it down. But let me be as real clear as possible. A CBC bus tour ain't it, y'all. What the CBC should have been saying is, send that $10 million to Black Voters Matter, to New Georgia, to Georgia Stand Up. Send it to the actual groups that are on the ground. Because the data don't lie. Y'all, numbers ran.
Oh, I've got the numbers. Roland's about to take an attempt at it here, but don't worry. Roland's pulling
Michigan,
up real quick.
as of right now, and again, what did I say? Detroit, 47% turnout.
Oh, my God.
She lost Michigan by 81,750 votes. Pennsylvania, I told y'all, 10% drop off in Philadelphia, Some say that comes out to be about 250,000 votes. She lost Pennsylvania by 130,487 votes. Wisconsin. What did I tell y'all what happened in 2022? 50,000 fewer people voted in Milwaukee than they did in 2020. If those 50,000 people in Milwaukee vote in 2022, Mandela Barnes is United States Senator because Mandela Barnes lost Wisconsin by 26,000 votes. Right now, Kamala Harris is losing Wisconsin by 29,634 votes.
That's UW.
Nevada, down 63,114. So if you look at Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, folks, we're talking 3 states, 250,000 votes. There's 250,000 votes. That's the difference between being president and going back to California.
Now that you've heard from everyone else, it is now time to get the comprehensive analysis of the actual numbers from the new black media. Now, you've seen a bunch of folks handing around charts that pretty much look like this, showing about, who voted for Kamala Harris versus Trump. You're seeing things like that. You've had some not very well-informed people who I guess, having visual aids and pictures helps them to be able to understand events better. It helps them to understand events, but it doesn't help them to understand numbers. That's the problem. They don't know how this system works. They don't know what electors are. They don't know what the Electoral College is. So they don't actually understand how voting works in America. So they see this graphic, and then you see a bunch of folks talking about Latino males, and Latino males, the majority voted for it. It was Latinos, and just like I say, all I can say is top of the line stupid. Roland was scratching at the surface of what the event was there because he understood I'm going to come up and have all the numbers available for you. So if you will all direct your attention to the screen, you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about. I put this together for you so that you all can understand exactly what occurred and that it is the black vote that Kamala Harris lost. If you take a look at the state of Georgia, in 2020, Trump lost Georgia by 12,000 votes. Biden won by 12,000 votes. That means Trump lost Georgia by 12,000 votes. In 2020, just 4 years ago. 4 years later, you have a black voter base that basically should run the yard, and yet Trump wins this year by over 116,000 votes. What? 4 years later, Trump lost by 12,000. This year, he wins by over 116,000. Or should I say, Kamala Harris lost the state of Georgia by 116,000 votes. Not 116 million people. 116,000. 116,000. Somebody in the chat room, the slow bus children. You got to understand, the slow bus children talking about how to explain the black vote. They're desperate to try to figure out, can somebody else make up that shortfall there? It can't be us. It can't. They're desperate to try to make it seem like that. Jason, how do you know that that is what occurred here? Feast your eyes. That's Georgia. WJCL. Low turnout of black voters during early voting in Georgia. They were recognizing there was a problem early on. What you got to do with the black vote? If you can be bothered to actually investigate and learn, never mind, you can't. That's what I'm here for. So just don't ask questions. Just sit back and listen. All will be explained. But by the way, the very first thing they were saying was that the black voter turnout in Georgia was already low. They were already saying that Early voting was underway in Georgia. The state has surpassed 2 million ballots. According to the Georgia Secretary of State's office, only 26% of registered voters who identify as black made their way to the polls. Only a quarter. Only 26% of registered voters who identify as black had made their way to the polls. Only a quarter of them. In the 2020 election, over 700,000 voters were black. For the guy who was asking, what I got to do with the black vote right there? Okay, here it is in black and white for you, kid. Pay attention. I'm going slow so you can keep up. 2020, over 700,000 of those voters were black, according to the Secretary of State's office. 4 short years later, you can barely get a quarter of them to show up for early voting. And the final turnout is ultimately going to bear that out. You only needed 116,000. That's the point. You only needed 116,000. Over 700,000 showed up 4 years ago. And that's not even counting everybody who's eligible and registered. That's not counting all of them who are eligible and registered. You had more than enough to cover that 116,000 people. If math's not your strong suit, sir, the bottom line is, in case you need some help, you have more than enough eligible black voters to cover that 116,000. Barack Obama would have had no problem getting that number. Barack Obama would have had no problem getting 100,000 black folk to show up 200,000. 250,000 black folk in Atlanta. Barack Hussein Obama would have had zero trouble in 2008 and 2012 getting 250,000 to show up. This never would have happened under him. That's the point. The situation has changed. It's changed dramatically. Folks didn't show up for one person, or they either defected to Trump or didn't show up for her. Because what this doesn't show you is the lack of numbers here, because actually in reality she got fewer. You all can go look that up if you want to there. I don't want to get too deep off the woods because I want to keep this very, very simple so that you can see these swing states, these so-called swing states that Kamala Harris needed. Trump took them all this time. Kamala Harris didn't get a single one. The so-called blue wall, the so-called swing states in the blue wall, Trump knocked the blue wall down. He took them all. Michigan, you know about Detroit? In 2020, Trump lost by 154,000 votes. Damn! In 2020, he lost by 154,000 votes. 2024, Kamala Harris loses by 80,000 votes. That's your black vote right there. I'm sitting here showing it to you. That's your black vote right there. It's not that there were more people voting this time. That was your black vote right there. There it is. Joe Biden had it 4 years ago. It got cut in half this time. That was your black vote right there. What that got to do with the black vote? It's got that to do with the black vote. That's what it's got to do with the black vote, chump. Want some more? I'll give you some more. North Carolina, Trump sweeps it. 189,000 votes. Roland goes on in his piece to talk about a county in eastern North Carolina. He said the Democrats didn't even show up in eastern North Carolina. You had a black county there that Trump won. A majority black county that Trump won. That's North Carolina. He won it in 2020, and he wins it big in 2024. Even the majority black county, 189,000 votes, not 189 million. Get that through your cinder block skull, dude. 189,000 votes. That's not your Latinos. You have more than enough registered black voters or available eligible black voters to sweep that 189,000 votes. And Barack Obama in his prime would have been able to mobilize that. In case you didn't know, in 2008 and 2012, Barack Obama easily would have mobilized that 189,000 votes. That's not Latinos. Trying to figure out some way to make this Latino cause or anything but black vote. We didn't do that. Yeah, we did. Read them and weep. Pennsylvania. Now, for my people who are with me live, who were in the room with me Tuesday night, they know that I named those three states in particular. I named North Carolina, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. And I said, especially if she doesn't get Pennsylvania, the night's going to be over quickly. And it was. Pennsylvania, you can see the numbers there. Trump lost Pennsylvania by 80,000 votes 4 years ago. 4 short years later, he sweeps it by 145,000 votes. There's your black vote gone right there. What you got to do with the black vote? That's what it's got to do with it. Right there. Not 80 million, not 145 million, not 1.4 million votes, 145,000. That's your black vote right there. Joe Biden had it 4 years ago. It didn't show up this time. Biden had it 4 years ago. Now, you can't argue with the facts. This is history. It's already happened. You can't fantasize it away. He had it 4 years ago. What the hell happened this time? You didn't have some ballooning of white voters. Your black vote said we cool. You've heard a bunch of yelling and screaming and hand-wringing from everybody from every demographic. Did you all notice the one demographic you ain't seen show up? Black men. Damn! You notice you don't see black men crying and boo-hooing and singing the blues. We sitting back chilling. Everybody else is complaining about us. We sitting back taking it easy. You notice you don't hear us complaining about nothing. Everybody else is sitting up yelling and whining and wearing the hair shirt. We sitting back sipping lemonade. We good. We good. That tells you who it was who did this. Show me the people who were most active last time and are most quiet this time, and I will show you the people responsible for this result. Isn't it amazing that black vote that they're talking about, and specifically black men, that's the demographic you ain't hearing much of nothing from this time. Now, you would figure that they would be the most upset. Wouldn't that be the natural assumption? That we as black folk, we would be the most upset group, shouldn't we? And yet, we're not. As a matter of fact, people are starting to notice, by the way, yeah, black folk ain't really upset and angry and taken to the streets and threatening. They're not angry about this. Not at all. Not at all. And it's starting to dawn on them. Hey, they're all right with us losing. They're okay with it. They're willing to eat the cost. Van Jones was on CNN, and he repeated what I have been saying from this microphone now for over a year, that he was talking to a Democratic strategist who had told him and warned him. He said, Kamala Harris's opponent is not Donald Trump. Kamala Harris's opponent is the couch. Van Jones literally said those words. Kamala Harris, he was told, Kamala Harris's biggest opponent is not Donald Trump. Kamala Harris's biggest opponent is the couch. People who just say, you know what, we'll sit this one out. And I am showing you on your screen right now incontrovertible evidence. Take a look at the difference between the numbers 4 years ago in the critical swing states. These states here would have put Kamala Harris over. These are states that Joe Biden won 4 years ago, and Barack Obama would have easily won in 2008 and 2012. And yet, this year, The support collapsed by a margin, not a great big huge one. There was just a margin that collapsed. And each of these states is about roughly 10-15%. I've always told you all, we don't have to get 50% of black folk to go along. 10% is enough to ruin an election. 10% is enough to scuttle an entire election. There were a whole bunch of people who were mocking and criticizing and saying y'all can't do this and y'all don't matter and who cares what y'all are saying over there. And I've told you all since the beginning, I've been saying this for 4 straight years, even when there were people trying to say, well, Jason, what happened in 2020? See, y'all don't matter no more. Joe Biden just proved this irrelevant. And I said, you know what? Let's see how this works out. 4 years later, you can't find a single one of those people. I invited them to call in earlier this week. You can't find none of them. That's the lack of principle and backbone, and they're now just showing that we were correct all along. I had no fear of what happened in 2020 because I'm not playing a sprint, I'm playing a marathon. And now here we are. And you can see on your screen a negligible number of folk there, 100,000 here, 150,000 there. Numbers in major metropolitan areas, Philadelphia, Detroit, Atlanta. Numbers that are easily galvanized, and they were galvanized 4 years ago. What happened? You know, some jackass gonna try to tell you that's the Latino vote. It wasn't more people. It was fewer people this time. You had fewer voters this time than you had in 2020. So stop trying to sit up here and delude yourself. Y'all black men, these black folk don't matter here. You want to believe that. You wish that were true. I'm showing you the incontrovertible evidence. There it is. When everybody talks about Georgia, people, when they talk about Georgia, they're talking about Atlanta. They're not talking about Valdosta. They're not talking about Augusta. When they talk about Georgia, they're talking about Atlanta. When they talk about, quote, Michigan, they're talking about Detroit. When they talk about Pennsylvania, they're talking about Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, but specifically Philadelphia. That has always been ultra reliable for them. That's why I'm pointing those out. I spent my life going to these areas. I know them very well. And that's why I'm pointing out to you when they name these places, they know who they're talking about. If you can mobilize Fulton County, you win Georgia if you're a Democrat. If, however, Fulton County slips by 7 or 10%, you lose. Fulton County doesn't have to slip by 50%. And we also know that black folk did show up and voted kind of the way they want to because Fannie the Mammy Willis got reelected. What? Now, we do know that black folk did show up in Fulton County because Fulton County's Fannie the Mammy Willis got reelected. Well, so she had no problem, and there were plenty of Trump voters who were angry and upset with her, remember? Yeah, for those of you, how you know with the black vote? Fannie Willis got reelected with Trump voters mad as hell at her. So obviously it wasn't some groundswell of Trump voters all showed up to vote for Trump. Because first of all, the numbers overall were down from 2020. But second of all, Fannie Willis had no problem getting reelected. She got reelected handily by the same people who gave Trump the presidency. So they voted for Trump and they voted for Fannie Willis? They voted for Trump and Fannie Willis. Is that what happened? Or did they vote for Fannie Willis and they declined to vote for Kamala Harris?
And deal with it, nigga.
Some folks want you to believe that we didn't have that kind of influence, but I'm showing you the numbers. Don't worry, dude. Math don't make sense to you. It's Public school dropout. What do you say? My GEB. I think you mean GED, sir. You trying to be funny. Joe Biden had absolutely no problem getting these numbers in 2020. In 2024, the numbers were actually lower for the overall voters. And what do you know? Yeah, the numbers are overall lower because folk voted for the couch. In state after state, major metropolitan area after major metropolitan area, they voted for the couch, and it was led by the black vote. In each of these areas here, it is your black vote that did not show up. There were plenty of other registered black voters that could have made up the shortfall in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, Wisconsin. Remember, Roland Martin told you that she lost about 29,000 votes. 29,000. That's more than enough black folk to be able to make up that shortfall. That was the point that Roland was making. You had enough black folk to be able to make up that 29,000. But the problem was you didn't have enough motivated people to show up. Yeah, the black folk are there. They were just not motivated to. Not at all. Not at all. In the chat room, I want Mr. Holloway there to go ahead and give us a call. We're going to go ahead and get up on the Zoom here. So he would like to educate us all about how that works. So let me go ahead and get him up here on the Zoom. He's got a lot on his mind. He wants to let us all know the factors that we are not aware of and that apparently we're not able to wrap our heads around. So let me go ahead and get him on up here, so he can explain to everybody exactly what it is we're not getting, since he has the rare insight that we are lacking. So he's going to go ahead and have an opportunity here. Let me go ahead and put up the Zoom link in the chat room. Let me go ahead and post that up, and he can go ahead and give me a call, and he can go ahead and enlighten us on what exactly it is we don't get, because clearly he's an expert on the voting demographics. Even though I'm showing them to you on the screen, he's going to explain to all of us why this is the Latino vote. He's going to explain to us why this wasn't the Latino vote in 2020. It wasn't them then, but it's anybody but black folk now. So it was black. Joe Biden said it was the black vote in 2020 in Georgia. Okay. You got 2 minutes to be on Zoom or else you'll be banned. So you have access to the chat room. You have internet access. So go ahead and click the Zoom link. No excuses. So my mods give him 2 minutes. And just to make sure that he stays focused, wouldn't want him to not stay focused on what he's supposed to here. No more comment in the chat room for you. Anything else you have to say, you can call up. You got 2 minutes to be on. And then you can explain it. You have internet service because you're in the chat room. So no problem. Use that internet service and click that Zoom link. And we'll go ahead and get this covered here shortly. By the way, folks, notice they're all kinds of talking until you tell them, okay, come up front and explain it to us. And then you find out you get some bubble lip dude sitting up here stumbling and bumbling like handyman. Whenever you all hear idiocy on the internet, when you read people's words, you read it in your own voice. So you think they're smarter than they are, more articulate. Then when you actually hear them, it's like, I'll be damned. This old dope fiend dude over here, he should be embarrassed to speak. He don't even have on a pair of socks. That's the problem right there. Y'all pro-black folk right there. You understand? See, Trump gonna take away my reproductive rights. Sir, you're a male, at least biologically. Yeah, but that damn thing. Trump gonna take my reproductive rights from me. Sir, which reproductive right? Abortion! Sir, do you know how abortion works? I'm protecting my reproductive rights. Listen to Kamala Harris. She told me. Don't want to get away with it. Not too quick. Let me go ahead and take a look over here on Zoom. I've got Jay Douglas here on Zoom. If this is Mr. Holloway, that'll be great. If it's not, we'll need somebody else for that. Tonight's program here, I wanted to make sure you had a condensed, comprehensive analysis of exactly how that works. Very, very important to have, because most folk are not aware of how the numbers actually work, and they have not been able to keep track of the demographics of it. My job as the anchorman of the New Black Media is to make sure you have the comprehensive analysis that you need and the interpretation that matters most. That's important. What's important for me is to make sure that you understand that when I said the black vote was going to be the separation, when I told you that that's what it would be, and that if we don't show up, it's guaranteed she goes down. Take a look at the so-called blue wall states. They come to the blue wall states. That's where black folk are. Where you have these major black urban centers, 100,000, 80,000 or 100,000 votes. Something that they didn't have any trouble with in 2008 and 2012, to a lesser degree in 2020, and then in 2024, you ain't got nothing. Yeah, because this has been coming now since Barack Obama was in office, and Roland Martin is finally acknowledging that what I've said the whole time. He's like, it's been going downhill since then. Folks, did I call it or did I call it?
And deal with it, nigga.
Did I call it or did I call it? Exactly the places, exactly the states, exactly the urban centers, exactly the margins. We didn't have to have 50% fallback, just needed 10%, and the whole damn thing crumbles down. Now, as I was saying before, to all of the Democrats out there, and you're listening right now, and to all of the Democratic politicians who hating, and you've been taking your antidepressants this week with a limited effect, and you've been upset about it, and you're wondering if we're going to back off of it. Hell no, we ain't backing off of it. And I'm standing on what we said before. If you didn't get the message this time, then don't worry. We can do this all over again in 2026 and 2028 and 2030 and 2032 and 2034 and 2036 until infinity. We can just do this all over again. This can just become a biannual damn meat tradition. We can just do this every other damn year. We can sit here and watch you crash and burn every damn year. You can watch them turn the damn stop signs into MAGA signs. We can do that. Since apparently you hard-headed and hard of hearing, and you don't, but we tried to do this the nice way and talk to you and explain to you, and you've been sitting up here undermining us and passing around memos like the Democrat WikiLeaks talking about, if they ask you for anything, don't promise them nothing. Don't make any specific promises. Well, you know what? You don't make us any specific promises, and we won't make you any promises at all. Now you're finding out to devastating results. You can bring out the folk you thought would influence us. See, you thought all of us was a bunch of niggas on TikTok. They really did believe that all of us are waiting for Beyonce Knowles to come sauntering out of her mansion in Martha's Vineyard and to bless us with her presence. Now, you know, you ain't a true Beyonce fan if you don't vote for Kamala. Look here, you and Kamala can get on your platinum record and roll the hell on up out of here. You, Meg Thee Stallion, Cardi B, all the damn rest of y'all can get around the microphone now and sing the blues like In Vogue.
Nigga, please.
They brought out the damn athletes. They thought it was Dancing with the Stars. They rolled out the red carpet. And it didn't work. You found out that after 20 years of the New Black Media beating the drum, black folk don't actually worship celebrities. Yes, we let them all look like straight asses. We don't actually, these white consultants and black political consultants also, looking at you, Simone Sanders, Joy Reid, Queen Latifah has never endorsed nobody. I mean, the powerful political endorsement of none other than Queen Latifah. They really, these folks in corporate media and the New York media bubble and the LA media bubble really do believe that black folk worship celebrities. They let those Twitter numbers and those TikTok numbers fool them because they want to believe it's true. And what do you know? They woke up and found out it's not true. Believe me, they ain't gonna try this again. Not anytime soon. They're not gonna try to bury you in celebrities again, and the celebrities are not gonna want to do it. They're not gonna want to look stupid. They made zero traction. None. So we just killed the myth that black society worships celebrities. And that if you can just get somebody famous enough or somebody whose album was popular enough that we all just gonna fall in line. Hey, I don't know what this candidate about here, but Beyonce showed up, so I was voting for him. That didn't happen. And by the way, didn't I say this? I said this last week, remember? That Cardi B doesn't have any respect in the world of politics. That's why it's a fool's errand to bring her out. She doesn't have any respect in the world of politics. I said that last week before election day. And what do you know? They're conceding exactly what I said. The whole damn thing. Yes. Kamala Harris lost the black vote. She lost enough of it. And that cost her the election. We didn't have to get rid of everything. You just needed to lose enough. And if these urban centers, i.e. black folk in these places, keep this same energy and this same attitude in 24 months, 48 months, then this becomes a vicious cycle. Gavin Newsom is out there in California right now trying to figure out how to rehabilitate his image. If he's under the dull-witted jackass notion that folks are waiting with bated breath to vote for him, you got another thing coming, pervert. Somebody needs to tell Funky Winkerbean that we're not sitting up here waiting to vote for him. We're waiting to sit up here and put the people's elbow on his ass. We're not going to forget you, Gavin. We're waiting for you. You think you're going to slither your way back and lay low and pop your gooseneck head up in 4 years and it's going to be bygones be bygones. The hell it will be. We're waiting for you, Gavin. Those of us who were never born in California, not qualified to vote in California, we all know who you are, and we're waiting for you. Just like we were waiting for Ron DeSantis, we're waiting for you too. We're waiting for you to pop your head up. You figure you will. We know you do, and we'll be waiting when you do. And we're going to have a very warm welcome for you, warm like a flamethrower, waiting for you to show up. And that goes for you too, Josh Shapiro. Damn! Just in case you are telling yourself that you're so popular in Pennsylvania that will carry you, let me say this to you in no uncertain terms, sir. No black agenda, no vote.
Alrighty then.
The same rule applies. So don't deceive yourself into thinking that if you can carry Pennsylvania, you'll be okay. Don't let them blow your head up into thinking that you're going to be the white Obama and everything going to be all right. It's a new day. Barack and Michelle Obama came out and completely squandered their political capital for all time, and I'm so thankful it took us a long time to liquidate those two jackasses, but we finally did it. They are both politically irrelevant and dead. No one's afraid of them. They have no more influence. Them showing up is not a slam dunk. That mystique that Barack Obama had as being invincible and being the Pied Piper that if he speaks, everybody else falls in line. That mystique is now erased. No one sees him that way anymore. He's now been exposed as having a niche popularity, but we've moved on. The electorate has moved on. And the old niggas who sat around now for decades voting blue no matter who and kissing butt no matter what, we show up and we're not bowing and scraping to LBJ and Jimmy Carter and Bill Clinton. We don't bow to any of them. We don't worship at any of their altars. And we're not afraid to sit up here and just lay back and say, you know what, damn both of them parties. This is a frightening new specter for them. Don't look around now, but it's going to get even scarier. However, you might disagree. Therefore, the link to the Zoom is pinned to the top of the chat room there. So you are all invited and available to go ahead and hit us up at that. So don't delay. I want to thank everyone, and I do mean everybody who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo. To Andrea Roberson, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Miss Nancy King, thank you very much as well for your support, sister. We appreciate that as well. Stephanie, thank you very much for your support. Also, Mark B, my man, Mr. Richburg. We got some folks in here who also have given out memberships. That is wonderful. The gift that keeps on giving. You definitely want folks to have that as well. We appreciate that. We appreciate that always. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When I come back, I want you to load up on Zoom. We're going to talk about this. Kamala Harris lost the black vote. And now that she's lost the election, and whoever takes her place next time, they can get this work too. This is the Black Channel.
Is your child struggling in school? Wish there was a way to get them the extra help they need? Mr. B, the teacher, is available for online tutoring on both tutor.com and varsitytutors.com platforms. He can help your child in a variety of subjects and is passionate about making learning fun and effective. And for even more learning tips, check out his book, Guidelines for the Successful Student. Now available on Amazon.com. For more information or to reach him directly, go to MrBTheTeacher.com today.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And the Zoom link is available here for you all to go ahead and give us a call on Zoom. We are eager to speak with you here. It's been a momentous week. It's been the culmination of years and years of work. People always ask, what is y'all's effect? What can you do? What can you all make happen? They used to question if we were a motivating, relevant force. Now everybody's just dead quiet. Let that be the answer you were looking for as to whether or not we're effective. Let's go ahead and jump over here on Zoom. Go ahead and get over here on Zoom. I got somebody on iPhone on Zoom. I need you to go ahead and make sure you turn your camera and your microphone on for me here. And folks, by the way, we can't wait around all night. Okay, here on iPhone, what's your name, brother?
Enoch.
All right, Enoch, and what's on your mind?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to say two quick things. They weren't serious about winning this election. Because in my point of view, and correct me if I'm wrong, I felt they should definitely have more organizers, more organizations involved, knocking on doors, talking to people, find out what the concerns were in the communities, so it would galvanize them to get out and vote. That's just my opinion.
Okay,
I didn't see them do that at all.
Well, let me address that one right there. Some folks have been talking about that there, especially that knocking on the doors thing. Please understand something, brother. If you were starting a media company or a business today, how much of your resources would you focus or devote to, quote, knocking on doors, to physically going to people's houses and knocking on doors? How much of your resources would you devote to that?
Okay, I get your point. I'm going back in time. Sorry about that.
So it's a bit anachronistic. Donald Trump had a ground game, sure. But, brother, I think we can all admit he made more ground with one interview with Joe Rogan than all the ground team you could have in every major, in the two biggest markets in America. So in that regard, I don't think it's the ground game that sank them. I think it's an overall, number one, you got bad policies. I don't care who your candidate is. If the policies are not smoking, this isn't going to work. Who was her constituency? Who was she going for? She never mended her bridges with us. Who's the base? Who was going to be her support? She never mended her bridges with us. She just kept walking and said, well, don't worry, them niggas will fall in line. And it didn't happen. She didn't come speak to us. That's the number one thing right there. Barack Obama leaned into black people, even if he didn't deserve it. He leaned into black people. Brother, tell me at what point Kamala Harris leaned into us?
Well, in her mind, Brother Black, she thought by being stupid, entertaining us with these idiots was enough. That's where she failed.
Right, but what I'm talking about is that Barack Obama actually came in. He sang Al Green, his wife danced the Dougie. My point is, what you're saying is that, well, Kamala Harris didn't. She was depending on the media to do it for her. She was depending on MSNBC to convince us, for Joy Reid to convince us, for Cardi B to convince us, not for her to sit down and say, let me speak to, quote, my brothers and sisters, because she can't do it.
You also forgetting stupid roly-poly idiot, Roland Martin, that knucklehead, you know?
Right, but my thing is, what you're saying before about knocking on doors, just remember, all the folk knocking on the doors are there to sell you something. They're there to sell you Kamala Harris. The person on the other side of the door is like, hey, wait a minute, she don't even talk to us. You're coming to my house and knocking on my door to talk to me. Kamala ain't said nothing to us. We have issues, we have concerns, and she's deliberately dodging them. Remember, Joe Biden drops out the election. She hides for 2 months. She wants to do rallies, answers no questions. All the people knocking on doors in the world aren't going to be able to help a candidate who's avoiding their constituency and thinking that celebrities and newscasters will do the job of justifying her election for her. The person who needs to be knocking on your door is Kamala Harris. I'll let you have the last word.
You're right, Mr. Black. You're absolutely right. But also, I think in her mind, what they failed at the very beginning, sir, you know that they gave more aid to Ukraine. They gave more aid to Afghan refugees. They gave a rights bill to the Asians. You know, they everything for us. They felt in their minds by giving us Juneteenth was enough, and that's what sank them completely. That's my.
Well, I mean, look, all those things would have been ancillary. Look it up. All those things would have been extraneous, exterior, superficial. If she had come and talked to us and we discussed, okay, we need to talk about what we gonna get. So when I say that she didn't talk to us, okay, you did all this other stuff with these other people, we wouldn't be complaining if we had gotten what we sold to get. It's like, okay, you go take care of them other folk right after you get done doing what we said to do. That's the element that was missing. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. We appreciate that. Like I said, if she wanted to go off and do all the other bull jive, you go do that after you take care of home. After you take care of our business, then you can go see about Ukraine and E-Crane and D-Crane and everybody else. She wants to sit up here and take care of them and tell us ain't nothing left for you because I gave it to Ukraine. Well, you better get your ass over there and go get it back. No, she avoided the National Association of Black Journalists. She avoided the Al Smith dinner. She avoided Joe Rogan. This is a candidate who can't talk. This is a candidate who can't speak. This is a candidate who only wants to talk to people who are already going to vote for her. Not go talk to people who are not going to vote for her, which is what she needs, because you have a bunch of black folk in black society who ain't going to vote for you. A bunch of black registered Democrats who are not going to vote for you. And as far as the Latino vote is concerned, this microphone has been telling you all going on 2 decades that Latinos see themselves identify as white, even on the census, which is why Jason Black alone was able to call the 2016 election for Donald Trump. When the rest of the internet media was not doing that, I called it. Well, yeah, I'd been to those places. I'd been to Philadelphia. I had been to Pennsylvania. I had been to Florida. I had been to New York. That's how I knew, hey, those states are going to go for him, man. Oh, Latinos ain't going to, you thinking Latinos see themselves as black. Latinos see themselves as white. And that wasn't a slogan. I wasn't just saying it because it sounded cute. I'm like, no, this is reality, and watch the votes bear me out. And they did. So this talk about Latino men, that's not shocking. That's not earth moving. That's to be expected. You let some jackasses on the internet, some guys with an interracial fetish out of New York City sit up here and deceive you into thinking, Latino men, they should be black. Now you got yourself looking like an idiot. Now it just shows that what we've been saying the whole damn time is correct. Why would you be shocked or amazed that white Latinos vote white? Or at least they do not see themselves as beholden to a non-white candidate. How the hell can you be shocked unless you've bought into the delusion that they are honorary black folk and see themselves as black? No, they don't. That's why we have always made that distinction and pointed out. No, they don't. Let me go ahead and get James up here on Zoom. James, go ahead and turn your camera and your microphone on for me here, please. Let me go ahead and get James up here on Zoom. I'll give you 5 seconds and then we got to move on. Let me go ahead and get James up here on Zoom. All right, James, what's on your mind, brother?
Hey, how you doing? B1 to you, brother. Good analysis and work as usual. But you want to know one thing? They immediately hit the owner of This Is It down here in Atlanta with eminent domain to one of his franchises. So they definitely salty about how us as black men and women came together and voted against our interests.
They're salty about how black men and black women got together and voted against our interests.
I meant voted, not against our interests, but voted for our interests. I'm sorry.
Well, here's the thing about that, brother. We vote Democrat all the time. And this kind of thing happens all the time. So voting for Kamala Harris doesn't change that. Voting for Sylvester Turner in Houston didn't help the turkey leg hut one bit. So voting for Sheila Jackson Lee didn't help the turkey leg hut one bit. 2020, remember Keisha Bottoms? You got Democrat mayors and stuff so in Atlanta. So voting Democrat has never protected us. That's never given. Killer Mike and them were down there at the city council, remember? Complaining because they were trying to target black businesses, talking about noise ordinances. Oh, you violating, they too loud. This is with your Democrats sitting right there in office. This is with them sitting right there and targeting the black businesses. So it's another day, and I don't like to hear that kind of thing. Of course, I don't. But what I am saying is voting Democrats never protected us from that. Those things are happening on their watch.
Well, I'm not saying that I know I wasn't voting, I voted outside of Democrat this election. I'm just saying I'm glad that we had a bigger margin for us to, affect these Democrats. That's all I'm saying.
Well, maybe they'll get the point. And if they don't, we can do this again in 2 years and 4 years. We'll be right here. They won't. We'll be right here.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Michael up here on Zoom. All right, Michael, what's on your mind, brother?
I think I added up the electoral votes, and it was 66 that Kamala would have gotten and she would have had 292 electoral votes, and that would have been enough for her to beat Trump for those states that you named.
It's math. It's math. Barack Obama did it. Joe Biden did it. But then again, they were not ducking us. They didn't have her baggage. Biden had his own. They were not ducking us. Kamala Harris did not do what was necessary. First of all, she was the most unpopular politician in America before June. She was the first one tossed overboard in 2020. So you're going to have a heavy lift to try to make her the most popular person you can now. Now, she came out of the gate with a head full of steam when Joe Biden got knocked out of the election. Well, yeah, so you can't say she didn't have every opportunity. I said the whole time, she's eventually going to have to start talking. And when she does, she's going to remind people why they don't like her. And that's what she did. You ask for simple things. What do you stand for? What do you stand against? People are not happy with the state of things right now. It's on your watch. What would you do differently? And she said, I wouldn't do anything differently. So she did everything conceivable to remind people why they don't like her. And she did absolutely nothing to reassure black people in those strategic areas. Hey, y'all need to show up and show out. Meg the Stallion could fill the stadium. Kamala Harris couldn't.
Well, one thing, a point, if we run our own political party, I heard one person say a drawback to that, say like if we wanted to form a black political party, they said that usually when people try and form political parties, like third parties, is that they have trouble getting on committees. So I don't know if that would be an important consideration if we were to do that.
Well, I mean, look, here's the thing, brother. Jewish people don't worry about that. Asian people don't worry about that. When you have a code, that is your political party. When you have a code, you're moving as a group, you're moving in unison, that is a political party. So just think about that for a few moments. These other groups, they're a power broker on their own. Where's their, quote, political party?
Yeah, that's right. That's all I wanted to share, Jason.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Like I say, I mean, you are the political party. You got you and the other folk who agree. If you're on code, there's your political party right there. There it is right there. All right, let me go ahead and see if I can get, Elijah up here on Zoom. Wake up, Elijah.
Hey, good evening, big brother Jason. How you doing?
All right, brother Elijah up here on Zoom. Why is that thing so loud? I think I got the gain up too high. All right, what's on your mind, Elijah?
Hey, brother, excellent broadcast as usual. I was not proud of voting for Mr. Trump, but I was more proud of Kamala Harris' loss because, after everything I looked at and her policies, that woman would have been an absolute travesty for us. And like how y'all always taught us, sometimes it's not the white supremacists you have to look out for. It's those white supremacist wannabes that will go even harder than the actual white supremacists to throw us under the bus.
Well, my thing is, in this election here, I didn't see a whole lot of that, to be totally honest. What you had was a candidate who you know who your base is. And this was the most blatant illustration of taking that base for granted that we've witnessed in our lifetimes. She never tried to court us before, and she did very little to reassure us later. If you know, this is a weak area that your previous contemporaries did not have. And she did nothing to focus on that. As a matter of fact, what they did do was get Barack and Michelle Obama to come jumping out the window and tell us that black men need to stop being misogynist and sexist. Not a word about, hey, she's got the right policies. Hey, y'all shouldn't don't be misogynist and sexist. Vote for her. Don't matter if she's a woman. Okay, yeah, you're right. It doesn't matter that she's a woman. It does matter that she's not offering us anything. Now that does matter, and neither Michelle nor Barack addressed that problem.
Yes, sir.
And the candidate was waiting for everybody else to run interference for her. She wasn't even leading the charge for her damn self. That's the part that was missing. Meanwhile, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance were talking to any podcast that would call them. That tells you something. They were on all the channels and stuff. They showed up everywhere. The woman who needed the most help was the one who didn't want to show up for herself. I'll let you have the last word.
Hey, brother, there was another interesting election that nobody talks about, and I have to quote you. Did you call it or did you call it? Out there in San Francisco.
Oh yeah.
The home. Yeah.
London Breed.
They got her ass up out of there.
Yeah.
And then another part to it, when you said black people are finished in California, nothing is more apparent than that election day. They just passed Proposition 36. They voted for that. They rolled back on all those low crimes and everything like that. So now,
Gascon is out. London Breed is out. Team Light Skin taking it on the chin this week, y'all. Team Light Skin taking the Team High Yellow just getting the brakes beat off of them this week. So it's a rough time to be High Yellow in America today. It's a rough time to be doing that. So they can get their OnlyFans and they fins to popping. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, like I say, if politics don't work out, they can go open the Finsta account and OnlyFans, they'll be in the top 5% at least. So yeah, they can go ahead and do that. Let me go ahead and get back over here on Zoom. Let me see if I can get Jay up here on Zoom. Let me get Jay on Zoom. Jay on Zoom. All right, Jay, waiting for Jay's audio to connect. All right, turn your speakers off, Jay. All right, what's on your mind, Jay?
Yeah, so appreciate the program. So what I saw in this election was actually Kamala did kind of go hard body for one group of people, and it was basically abortion and white women, and they were really the only group that she was directly talking to, and they pretty much ignored her. So my question to you is, do you think we've seen the end of black women in general thinking that they have any sort of camaraderie with white women at all? And will they finally understand that white women support white men and white male patriarchy just as much as anybody else?
Look, remember, the media in this country spends a tremendous amount of resources to influence females in particular. So you've always got these double voices. You have black men in person, but you've got this multi-trillion-dollar white communication apparatus constantly screaming at them on the other hand. So it can be very, very challenging to compete against that. The reason why the media freaked out because of the black male vote is because we've been solid in our messaging. They've gone across the country, and what they noticed was what I've been working for now for the past 2 decades, to make sure that there was a uniformity in response. And it started with cut the check, and it's been going since then. People are no longer afraid to say, hey, y'all ain't doing nothing for us. They're not afraid to say that. And what they noticed was black men who were leading the charge on that when local TV stations and local radio stations shove a microphone in their faces. And when that started happening, we were openly speaking out against them. The whole problem was that, what I said last week, black men are a leading indicator. Black women are a lagging indicator. So the men break ranks first, and the women gonna break ranks behind us. So if you see the men have moved from 8% to 10% to 15% to 20%, now you're seeing black women go from 99% to 95% to 91%. The numbers are clearly moving in that direction. And the worst part about it is you won't find out what the new number will be until 2 or 4 years from now. And it's very unlikely that the new number will not be lower than the current number is, which is already lower than the last one was. Any demographer, any statistician can look at this and see this is a problem. And he can chart out for you, this is where it's going next. So as far as black women are concerned, I understand it. You've got those forces out there, but the numbers are making a very clear, undeniable picture. The numbers are not saying things are getting better for them folk over there. The numbers are saying they're getting worse. Look for it next time for the black female vote to be even lower for them than it was this time.
Another thing I noticed, if you look at Trump's rise, he basically hijacked the Republican Party. I mean, the Republicans weren't even talking this way, back when, Romney, Bush, and folks like that were in charge. I'm wondering is there any chance that we could hijack the Democratic Party in a certain way that Trump kind of did? In other words,
well, no. And the reason for that is because Donald Trump brought something we don't have. He was already a billionaire. He was already a major television personality. Remember, The Apprentice was the #1 show on TV at the time. So Donald Trump has some advantages that the average person, average politician simply does not have. He was a television personality. We've seen this phenomenon before. Schwarzenegger and Reagan in California, Al Franken in Minnesota, Sonny Bono in Florida. So there have been some celebrities who have been able to take that and parlay it into other things. Donald Trump, although, brings a pedigree as a major businessman. So he's got advantages that the average individual simply would not have. People in the Republican Party did not meet him as a politician. They met him as a businessman and a television personality. That's what he was known for. He didn't fight his way up from being state rep to senator to governor or something. He just went straight from NBC to the White House. So you would have to replicate his success, you'd have to replicate that pathway if you were going to try that. Also, Donald Trump was not afraid to gangster his way in it. When he went in, he was like, I ain't got no friends up here on the stage. All y'all going down. Marco Rubio, Ron DeSantis, everybody. Ain't going to be nobody. There can only be one, like Highlander. So not only did he have the pedigree, he was willing to gangster his way through it. And he was like, I'm going to beat the hell out of all y'all first. And when I win, then we can shake hands. So he was willing to bring a level of thuggery to it that the rest of them weren't able to. And because of his television personality status, he could get away with it. In our case, we don't have that. That's okay. We just need to be on code. And by demonstrating, hey, we're not asking you for this. We're telling you this is what needs to happen. And here's what will happen if you don't. You're going to have to carry this election on your own. And what they found out is you can't. The frightening part for them about the, quote, Latino vote is it bears out what Jason Black been saying now for going on 2 decades. If you think you're going to bring a bunch of white Latino males into the country, even from foreign places, and they're going to be your honorary black vote and vote blue no matter who, you don't understand what they've been doing. They come over poor. They're going to support your open borders policy just long enough for him to get over. And once he gets over here and get a few dollars in his pocket, his vote from here on in is going to be to keep more dollars in his pocket. Now he's going to flip from voting Democrat to Republican because his priorities are shifted. When he was an illegal alien, his priority was getting access to the country. Now that he's got access to the country, he's not going to fight for access to the country anymore. He's got that. Now he's moved on to a new priority. You still thinking that he's worried about the old one. He's like, dude, I fixed that problem. Now I got a new problem I'm trying to fix. How I'm going to keep this money in my damn pocket? Well, you might have to close the border for the rest of your folk. Done. I'm good. I'm all right. They'll be okay. I'm done. All right. And they didn't figure that was going to happen. Sure enough, that's what you're seeing occur. Exactly what I told you all would happen. A lot of folks think that's a phenomenon that only happens for Puerto Ricans and Cubans in Florida. I've warned you all. Have you been to Texas? Have you been to Arizona? Have you been to Nevada? Uvalde, Texas is right down there near the border. A majority Latino city that voted for a white Republican mayor. I told y'all that when the shooting happened down there. I'm like, that's what's going on. And these other folk, Roland Martin and them, he say he's from Houston and doesn't even know that. So that's how I could call these things and tell you this is what the numbers will actually do. They'll bring those folk in, but they're going to come in as Democrats, but they're going to end up voting as Republicans. And that's what you're seeing. And now, newsflash, now that they've proven they will do it, if this works out for them, Oh, you've lost the Latino male vote, period. Not for a generation. It's gone. Old dude can sit there and spaz out on TikTok all he wants to. If they make more money under Trump, they're not going to walk that backwards. They're not. Period. I'll let you have the last word.
Oh yeah, that's spot on. I think every other group that comes in, they basically aspire to whiteness, and I don't know why we don't really understand that, but that's all. Yeah. So yeah, everything that you said is basically going to pan out like that, because I live in Texas right now.
Dude, I mean, if Ricky Martin, pause, can get a few white girls in Texas, I mean, that's what he's done. He's got his. He got a fly car with loud pipes on it, and a couple of white girls. Man, he's through. That's it. He's got his American dream. He's done. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Yeah, it's just like that. It's just like that. He got the car. He got a couple of white girls, bro. He's that's it. He's doing his Giga Chad thing. He's done. He's done. I don't know what you thought his goal was, but he's like, man, I got it. What I got to be upset about? What do I got to be mad about? I'm living in San Antonio. Got me a couple of blonde chicks. Got my BMW. I'm straight. Talking about some border. Close that damn border. Give me my money back. Let me go ahead and get Maurice up here on Zoom. All right, Maurice on Zoom. What's on your mind, brother?
Oh, yes, sir, Mr. Black. Evening, sir.
He's calling me from the cabin of the airplane. All right, what's on your mind?
This big rig. But, yeah, it's a few things. This was a huge win for FBA. Just this success here in changing the vote dynamic and how everything turned out. Now that we're on the other side of that, it's great accomplishment. I don't see the court, in my thinking now, I don't see the correlation between Democrats and FBA. There was a story on NPR some time back about how the parties changed from, the poor white man and the Democrat, and how they became the Republican Party. It was a man, a white man, they have a statue of him in Alabama Crimson Tide, at the University of Alabama Crimson Tide. There's a statue of this man, and how another black man went against this white man, and he won the Democratic nomination for, I don't know what level of government it was on, but ever since that black man beat him, he changed he went Republican, and everything's been changed since then. And you kind of go back to our story, we came off the boats here. We came off the boat, and we got our freedom through two white men having their disputes. And
look, the Republicans have become the party of the working class. They've kind of taken that mantle away from the Democrats. The Democrats have become the party of pointy-headed, sexual deviant perverts, Mark Lamont Hill, Michael Eric Dyson. They become the party of the pointy-headed academics who will rationalize any perversion. They become the party of Rachel Maddow. Correction on hers, because Megyn Kelly was saying that Rachel Maddow makes like $30 million a year. What? I mean, think about it. That's what I was saying before. I thought it was $10 million. It's been a decade, because I thought that was the number when Keith Olbermann brought her there and they redid her contract. Now, like $30 million a year to do what? 2 shows a week or 2 shows a month? Some crazy low number, 30 million. So yes, she can sit there, and that's why on MSNBC this whole week, they've had a bunch of metrosexual, LGBT trans or trans sympathetic sitting up talking about, you're worried about fringe issues like how much bread and eggs cost, and not worried about the big things like abortion. And what I'm saying is, okay, you can manage abortion. You can avoid that. You can't avoid going to the damn grocery store. You can't avoid going to the gas station. So for them, they have the luxury of wagging their fingers and telling you should be concerned about your own personal sexual kink instead of how much groceries are. And Rachel Maddow sat there and said that everything was fine, that the economy was fine. And I couldn't help but think to myself, where have I heard that before? And then it dawned on me. Oh, now I remember. Back in 2007, Senator John McCain, after George W. Bush wrecked the economy with the Gulf Wars, sat up and told us all that the fundamentals of the economy were sound. In the middle of a damn recession, but telling all of us, well, vote Republican again because the economy's doing good. The fundamentals of the economy are sound. And I'm like, Rachel, you've become the Republicans of 2007 in your desperate attempt to hold on to justify your party's credibility. You're literally saying what John McCain said, ignoring what the people are telling you. Brother, you never do that in politics. If you want somebody's vote, you never tell them that what they're experiencing is wrong, that they don't know, that that's not really happening to them. And if the only people that you will accept is really happening to is trans and abortionists, your party doesn't have a future. If those are the only people that you don't question. Do you know how raggedy you have to be and how privileged you have to be to have the luxury of saying that the only people who got real problems are trans and LGBT? Do you realize how far out of touch with the world? You're way out. You're in orbit somewhere, out of touch with the world. And that's where they are today. Not to say that the Republicans are different in many ways. The bottom line is Trump knows how to make it seem like they're not. He's not talking to any of those weird, silly issues. And most of all, he's not questioning that people don't like the way things are. Even when he was president, he never questioned if people didn't like things. He never said, you're wrong. He never said that's not happening. Now, he would tell you what he thought he was doing, but he never questioned your view of reality. These folks are losing, and Mark Lamont Hill is telling us trans women are actually women. And Rachel Maddow was saying, you all are wrong. The economy's doing great and prices are fine. While she rakes in her $30 million a year. I'll let you have the last word.
Yes, sir. I believe that now we have accomplished this. I believe the only way for us to move forward is as the Gladys Knight says, we have to find some kind of harmony amongst brothers and sisters. Even the 92% of those women that voted for that, for her. And, I think we have to do something, whether it's Tavis Smiley or we need to have some kind, and PBS should be able to fund it as government funded, and our tax dollar goes towards that. So I think we really have to come together for our own agenda and show both of these parties that we're serious about our agenda, and we have to do the fighting amongst each other to get where we need to be. Because if we continue to, in my opinion, if we continue to support this Democrat Party, the same party with our agenda, it's going to be a line of other ethnic groups behind us. We're not going to get away from that, and the Democrat Party and what they see with that since the civil rights era. We've only been free for 60 years, so we're going to have to take it back to what works best, what worked best for us outside of Emancipation Proclamation.
No, look, having an agenda is what you need. When you have an agenda, folk coalesce around that, and that's what we got now. We have an agenda. The result of the vote was folks saying, hey, we on something new. We're not voting for scholarships. We're not voting for integration. We're not voting for government jobs. We ain't voting for none of that. When you ask folk, when they say they're not doing anything for us, what do you mean? Nobody's saying they ain't giving us jobs. That's not what folk are talking about. Everybody talking about economic investment. Drop them dollars. That's what everybody's talking about now. This is a totally different conversation. When Barack Obama was running for president, when Bill Clinton was running for president, quote, doing something for us meant jobs. With Barack Obama, that was the tail end of doing something for us is jobs, and the beginning is doing something for us is economics. We want money that we control. Now, today, ain't nobody talking about no jobs. Kamala Harris's whole thing, when she finally broke down, in the last couple of weeks of the election, she was talking about dropping off investment money. She wasted the last damn couple of weeks to parachute that in. She wasn't talking about jobs. She was talking about investment. You know, the same damn thing that built this country and that you gave everybody else. Brother is breaking through. I want you all to understand. I'm putting up a big ass sign to let y'all know, hey, it's happening. The networks are complaining about our, quote, vote. I'm putting it in context for you. Our vote is following our agenda. No, it ain't 50% of us yet. It doesn't have to be. 10% of, you just saw that 10% of us is enough to burn the whole damn thing down. Recognize when you're winning. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I want y'all to recognize when we're winning. Recognize when things are going in the right direction. Recognize when it's going where we said it needed to go. Recognize when you're seeing results. You saw Joy Reid and the rest of them wringing the hair shirt and blaming black men and this, that, and the other, but not putting it in the context of what I said. We told them what would happen if they did not do our bidding. Then we turned around and did it. They're trying to make it seem like, well, y'all are misogynistic. And it's like, no, you didn't follow our agenda and we don't give a damn what you call it. We're not falling for any shaming tactics. You can get this damn work every damn other year if you got to. We meant what we said. We are not going to put abortion, illegals, or no damn thing else ahead of our agenda. We got our agenda. We told you what it was. You heard it loud and clear. You tried to play hard-headed and play dumb. Now you can just be dumb. When you got an agenda, it speaks for itself. When you have a code, it speaks for itself. They know what we want. They're giving billions of dollars to, I covered this before a couple of weeks ago, automotive plants, Elon Musk, Intel. All these white folk are getting billions and hundreds of billions of dollars, and then they're telling you and me ain't nothing for us. But they have no problem cutting a big-ass check to all these other people and say, here's enough money to start a whole industry, and telling you and me that $1 million, oh, I don't know what we can do about that right there. Elon can get 100 billion, but you show up and, man, it's rough on us right now. Don't know we can do that there. And Elon Musk has now taken the billions of taxpayer dollars that have made him the richest man on the planet, depending on what year you're counting. And now he turns around and buys Twitter and promotes a nakedly white supremacist agenda with our damn tax dollars, with our money. And then they turn around and tell you and me they don't want us to have the ability to do that. Now they'll take money out of our pockets, give it to him, and then he becomes a power broker, and then just like Welch's Jelly, the Welch's company and whatnot, y'all go take a look. They were politically active. Whole bunch of these companies, when they started, a lot of these people, Henry Ford and others, they used their wealth to become politically active. They used their industries they built to become politically active. Elon Musk is just the continuation of that. That's why they want to make sure that we don't get anything, because they know damn well we're going straight into acting with it. This is to make sure you can't do that. And that's what we're saying. Hey, if that's not on the agenda, we ain't voting for nothing, because you haven't given us anything to vote for. Now on Zoom, Bryce, I need you to go ahead and turn your camera and your microphone on for me here. So I'll give you 5 seconds to go ahead and do that. I need your camera and your microphone on for me. Once we do that, we'll go ahead and get started. I can give you 5 seconds. Otherwise, we got to move on. So let me go ahead and get to that here right quick. Bryce, if you're in a dark room or something like that, it won't work. Okay. Don't know what happened to Bryce, but he was there, now he's not. Folks, I know a lot of folks spend so much time in the wilderness. They don't know what's happening. They don't understand. It's hard for them. I get it. I get it. That's why I have made it my job to show up here on a consistent basis, to open my microphones to anybody who wants to call me so you can hear me speak to them one-on-one. Jason, why do you let these people talk as much as they do? So that you can all hear that I'm not just selling you on a line. Call me up, question me, ask your questions. Let me go ahead and dissect it and lay it out. And you all decide if what I'm saying is bearing out accurately, if it's logical, if it's based in fact. I'm bringing you the numbers. Show me who the hell gonna knock it down. Roland Martin does not ask or invite people to call him up to challenge what he puts on his screen. The dude at the beginning of the program, I told him, hey, you need to call me up. You saying you disputing it. Call me up and challenge it. They don't do it. Okay, then it's got to be solid. If he's inviting anybody, it's an open microphone. I have no call screener. All you got to do is call me up and you can challenge it. Okay, if you can knock down my analysis, if you can disprove my numbers, damn it, there's the link. Nothing standing between you and me but air and opportunity. If it's not true, if it's phony, then it should be easy to disprove. And yet they're not doing it. Folks, recognize when you're winning. Recognize when it's happening. Recognize when you got solid data and solid information. Recognize when it's there. Recognize when these people are trying to mislead you. Recognize when the wall is broken. If you are waiting on Rachel Maddow to say, it's the black vote, stupid, it ain't gonna happen. If you're waiting for Joy Reid to acknowledge that it's the black vote, don't look for it. That's why she wants to make it about black men, so that she doesn't have to acknowledge that, by the way, Joy Reid done got her little old phony paycheck, which is nowhere near Rachel Maddow's, by the way. And she's willing to sell us out while she's sitting in the colored section of the bus on MSNBC. And she's pleased to be there because this is the most in life she's ever done. But she's not looking out for the masses. She's looking out for her own personal perversions and her own form of kink. But she's not looking out for the masses. And we have been steadfast with our own code and our own agenda. It's not been over the course of months or years, but over the course of decades. And I'm telling you all, if you questioned it before, if you wondered, if you were getting a little weak in the knees, if you were getting a little shaky about it, if you were wondering whether or not it was working out, I'm showing you it's working. I'm telling you where these numbers came from. I'm showing you the historical data. I'm showing you the population numbers. We said what would happen if she lost the black vote. You have to just be a misinformed, ignorant jackass to try to make this a Latino thing. The Latino vote has always been split. The Latino vote has always been split. The black vote has always been in the 90th percentile. Historically, we have always been in the 90th percentile. That's the difference. You've always been able to count on a black vote of 95 to 99%. This is the first time ever that you had it break this large. It's no longer in that 90th percentile. The Latino vote has always been a split vote. It's not new. Somebody trying to jump up here now because they're Johnny come lately with his ADHD not paying attention. Latino vote, as if the Latino vote splitting is new. Oh, they got a majority of Latino males. They've always been hovering near a majority. It's always been hovering 50-50 one way or the other. This isn't new. What is new is a black vote that is breaking below, is cracked almost 90% for black women and cracking down to 70% for black men. Now that's new. That's not minor. That's super major. You could look up in 4 years and have a black vote where the men are in the 60s and the women are in the 80s. Yeah, and you'll probably still have some clown coming to be, I watch MSNBC, they said Latino vote. I was watching The View, and Sonny Hostin and Anna Navarro told me it was the Latino vote. So they told me you black men is misogynistic, but I was listening to them, and that's what they told me. So, yeah, y'all need to calm down out there. All that Marcus Lamont Hill, all that misogynoir. All right, I got MB here on Zoom. Turn your camera, your microphone on for me. MB, what's on your mind?
Hey, big bro. This is heat you're dropping here, man. I'm up here in Philly here. I was going through the Northwest area on election day, and it gave me Carrie 04 vibes, man. I was, going through Northwest, going through, 52nd Street, then went through North Broad, and then it's Germantown Ave. It's been you had some folks with trying to rally up the crowd with party at the polls thing, but it wasn't popping, man. It wasn't popping. It was kind of sad, man. It was like, how do I tell them? And it was, it kind of carried on into I should have put money on that in the sports books as far as PA goes, man, because I already knew it was not going there. And right now, man, it was like, they want to blame us black men for it. It was like, you know what? I'll be that, but black women are so far behind. They also follow a downward trend. They try and make it all about us, but I'll be that. I'll take that smoke. You know what I mean? But it's like, they're lying to themselves, man. So it's like,
well, they can afford to do that. Joy Reid can afford to talk stupid because she gets paid for it. She is their designated negress on their network. She gets paid to sit there and be their token and talk dumb. And by the way, do you know this Joy Reid and Simone Sanders? You got to have the little lesbian haircut that at MSNBC. That's dough breaking. That's not buck breaking. That's dough breaking. They grab black females on that network and then they start dough breaking on them. And that's what happens to them. And they're not afraid to look silly or stupid. Simone Sanders got rent to pay. She's not trying to have to move out of Washington, D.C. And her husband alone can't afford to keep him there. So she needs that little old job. Joy Reid needs that little old job. The rest of us are not in the same boat. Right. So if we talk stupid, there are real consequences. They talk stupid and they get paid. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's real, man. I mean, and also you kind of killed it with the other point you made about Willis, and she won her seat, and it was like, that because that counteracts the whole thing. They talk about how Kamala lost because of misogyny, because of misogynoir, but she won. Talking about Willis winning Georgia, what? If she's not a black woman, like what's this divide? Is it the fact that we don't see Kamala as
and Fannie Willis been indicting black men all over the damn place? She's been indicting any black man with a microphone. She's handing a subpoena and a RICO charge to any black man with a microphone in the baseline. So that's what's happening over there. So it's like I said, they're talking stupid, they're talking silly. Everything is about shaming us. And notice what's happening. If a person is constantly, their only interaction with you is shaming, that's abusive. They don't want to listen to you. They're just trying to shut you up and bully you into submission, but they're not actually trying to listen to you. That's the problem. And you know what we're saying? It's like, you know what? You ain't got to listen to us. You can listen to Donald Trump. That bastard don't mind talking 24/7. You can listen to him for the next 4 years. You can listen to Fox News do victory laps and gloat for the next 4 years. You can listen to that now. We'll come back and try to talk to you again in 4 years. And we'll see if you're a little more receptive or if you need another 4 years with President J.D. Vance.
Hey, I'm with it. Hey, I'm with it. And I'm not, I'm not too much of a fan of Shapiro. He probably be the lead dog in that. Hey, if he's a fall guy for the next time, let it be. Let it be. B1.
B1, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. I mean, look here, understand something. If we sat back and let Trump go to the White House, don't you know you are on notice? We'll let J.D. Vance go. I'm not going to jump in the way of nothing. We ain't jumping out no windows. We ain't jumping in front of no bullets. Okay, if you're so determined that you're not going to listen to us, that you let Donald Trump go to the White House, hey, we'll fall back and let J.D. Vance get in that damn bastard. He going to do all these bad things. They've been doing bad things under the damn Democrats. We're not making excuses for anybody anymore. If we cannot all be equally comfortable, we'll all be equally uncomfortable. Some of you slutty suburban hoes are going to have to drive across state lines to get your damn abortions. Oh, boo-hoo. We're talking about survival. Try your shaming tactics on somebody who can be shamed for standing up for their own interests. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Armageddon up here on Zoom. All right, Armageddon, what's on your mind?
Yes, I wanted to tell you that I really appreciate all of your information. I've been tracking you for 3 years, and I've never heard you give no incorrect, anything. You've been very blunt. I've heard you. Hell, you even said some things that cut me before, and I just made changes, But everything I've ever heard you was 100 every time, and that's one thing that I didn't get before when I was just watching mainstream media. I wanted something. I knew it was diluted. I wanted something better, and I started listening I started listening to you, like I said, 3 years ago, and PBT and Lisa Cabrera with the Black media, you know, and like I said, y'all have always been spot on, and y'all are the only people I get my news from, and even my way of life, you know, way of living, you know, how to be a better person, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for checking in, brother. We appreciate hearing that. That's what being on Code does. I know a lot of you, when you first came to me 15 years ago, you felt like you were crazy. The world was out of control. Jason, nobody's listening. Everybody's on some bull crap. Those of you who have stayed the course, those of you who have been consistent, those of you who have taken the slings and arrows, those of you who did not break down, back down, fall down, those of you who are willing to stand up no matter what, those of you who have remained consistent and persistent. I know you've had many moons where you were questioning whether or not this thing was worth it, whether or not it was ever going to happen. I know it seemed like it was just never going to occur. Jason, we never making no progress. Tell me how it feels now. You feeling the breeze, you're feeling the warm sunshine, and you're hearing the sound of screaming in the distance out there. I know if you listen real carefully, you can hear them screaming in the distance. You can hear it if you listen close. If you listen carefully. If you listen carefully, you can hear them out there squealing. It's the sound of anger. It's the sound of anarchy and tumult. It's the sound of chaos. It's the sound of broken schemes and dreams out there. If you listen, just listen carefully and you can hear it. It's faint. It's very faint in the distance, but I assure you it's out there. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Bryce. Let me see if you got your act together here, Bryce. Okay, Bryce is trying to connect his audio. We'll see if it works for him. All right, Bryce, you're on.
Peace, bro. Yeah, sorry about earlier, man. Just calling up. This is my first time calling up, brother. I just wanted to say thank you first and foremost. As an aspiring filmmaker, you allow me to see that it's very much possible and that it's achievable to fund your own films so you can tell the truth and nothing but the truth. So for that, I really appreciate you, bro. And
it is better to have your own media and have 100 people for your own than to have 50,000 or 1 million for somebody else's.
For sure, brother. And like just to chime in on the program that you were talking on tonight, I just wanted to add that we might have had 10% more for Trump this time around, but what the old media is not accounting for is a large chunk of us didn't even vote. So that's like a bigger, that's almost like more votes against them rather than
well, I mean, they are accounting for it, actually. I mean, they are accounting for that. They're looking at the overall numbers. The overall numbers were down from the 2020 election. So they're taking all of those things into account. You've had fewer people vote, and of the ones who voted, they didn't vote Democrat nearly as much as they did before. So you had a smaller pie this time, and the smaller pie gave a smaller slice to the Democrats. So it's just down across the board. The only thing you can infer from that is most of those losses came from the Democrat side of the table, where they had votes before. Those people either didn't come to vote at all, and they've been saying this. That's what Van Jones talking about the couch. I mean, they're acknowledging it. That either this time the Democrats, the folk who voted for them in 2020, either didn't show up at all. They chose not to show up. They showed up before, but this time they said, I'm sitting this out. Or if they did show up, they've defected to Trump. So that they get it. They get it. They see it. The issue is they don't really know what to do about it because they want to sell you the same thing they've been giving you. Cenk Uygur and Roland Martin, they're saying that the problem isn't the Democrat Party and its positions. They're saying the problem is they have the wrong spokespeople, the wrong consulting firms, the wrong media consultants. That's what Cenk Uygur said the problem was. He said the problem is they have the wrong candidate, Kamala Harris. He was asked on News Nation or on Piers Morgan. No, the problem is not the policies. We just had the wrong people talking. We had the wrong candidate. We had the wrong spokespeople. We had the wrong consultants. Not that the problem is you're giving the wrong policy. What you're advocating for is wrong. So, brother, that's why it's not going to get fixed. It can't be. Not by them, because they're saying their policy isn't the issue. If we had different consultants, Roland Martin really does believe that if they just give him the money, he'll convince us to go along with what Kamala was selling. And that's never going to happen. It's just not. It's not that y'all are not giving it the right way or you haven't found the right way to say it or y'all just don't know how to talk to black folk. No, we heard what you're saying. And the problem is you're not listening to us. You're supposed to be doing what we said, not us doing what you say. So they heard it, brother. They get it. They know the numbers have gone down. They know folks sat on the couch. They just don't know what to do about it.
Okay, and like also, I can't help but like I have this feeling that this upcoming Trump presidency is gonna open up a lot of people's eyes, and that's gonna they're actually gonna end up coming over to us just because we have people that are no longer masking their hatred or their racism for us. They're just open and outward with it, and you know we're gonna end up having no choice but to come together and defend ourselves. So I don't really have anything else to say, brother, but I appreciate you for taking my call.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Not, we appreciate that. Let me go ahead and see if I can get Ime. Let's go ahead and see if we can get Ime up here on Zoom. Yeah, like I said, I mean, these folks, that's literally what Cenk Uygur and Roland Martin have said, y'all. They said the problem is not the Democrats' policy. The problem is not Kamala Harris's policies. They said that all their policies are great. Their policies are wonderful. Everybody loves it. That's literally what they're going around saying. They're saying the problem is we just don't have the right spokespeople. We don't have the right media consultants. We're not making the right television ads. We're just not communicating it correctly. But all of our policies are great and wonderful and fine. That's what they're saying. All right, we got Ime here on Zoom. All right, Ime, what is on your mind? Turn off your speakers.
Turn off the speakers.
Okay, Ime, what's on your mind? Okay.
I'm calling because I was at the 8 a.m., which was a great movie in New York, and the money is the most important thing. And I tend to disagree with that, saying the money is the most important thing. And Rachel Maddow was getting that bag. And we have some momentum now. We have proven that we all can get on code for a goal for all of us. So if the money is the most important, now that we got this momentum, why don't we start pulling our money out of these banks? And then, like, I know it's convenient to have direct deposit, have your money go straight to the bank. It doesn't even touch your hands. And then it goes everywhere else.
I think that's a fantastic idea, brother. How much money do you have in cash in the bank?
I have enough. I have way more than enough.
Enough is not a number.
Enough is way more than enough.
Okay, enough's not a number, sir. What's your credit score?
My credit score is through the roof, and I don't even use credit like that.
His bank account is unknown. His credit score is indefinite. So until you can get that fixed, your theory about we'll all get together, you can't get together on notions and fantasies. You got to bring something tangible.
Notions and fantasies.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. We can't argue about that all night. But by the way, folks, we need to take our money out the banks, but you don't have any in. If we all take our money out the bank, okay, but sir, you're going to have to put some in before you can take it out. How much you have in the bank? I got enough. He got rent. Okay, so we can't collaborate over your rent money. We got to get a little bit more now. What's your credit score? My credit score? 3 touchdowns. No, sir. No. I thought you said score. Want to give you all a bit of insight into how things go here next. Please understand, there's a whole bunch of folks out there talking about they're going to sit up here and grieve and wring their hands and stuff until January, and then they're going to get to work. Here's the thing for us right here, y'all. We ain't never stopped working. The Black Channel runs every damn weekend. We don't take a holiday. We've outworked them. We've outlasted them. We've outfought them. Just us showing up every damn week. We are more persistent and more consistent. And we don't make nearly what Rachel Maddow makes tens of millions a year and takes whole weeks off. We're real soldiers. We ain't got a penny coming in, and we show up every damn week, and we keep coming for your neck. We stay on the job. We stay consistent. We go over the facts. We go over the figures. We do the research. We bring the numbers. We organize. We got the game plan. How the hell you gonna beat something like that? You making $30 million a year, and you can't show up for television but once a damn week, making $30 million a year. And the folks you fighting against got a bowl of rice and a chicken drumstick and going to war every damn day. That's what they're fighting against. Joy Reid and Simone Sanders are sitting up here and their whole damn day is ruined if they can't get their coffee latte and room service. Meanwhile, you dealing with soldiers out here. We used to go on a day, may not eat. We got to march. We're sacrificing against folks who don't know how to sacrifice anymore, don't have the stomach for it, don't have the will for it, too sensitive, too fragile. They can't handle us. And I told you what the numbers were. I've tried to keep you all consistent. And I know sometimes your faith was waning and sometimes like, did Jason, I mean, his heart in the right place. I just don't know if he knows what he's talking about. And then this week shows up and it's like, I'll be damned, there it all is. The 10% that Jason was talking about this whole time, there it is. And now it's sent political shockwaves around the world that are going to circle and reverberate for years, if not decades. What are we going to do? Here's the good news. We're going to continue doing what we've been doing. We show up every week. We show up every weekend. We got our agenda. We talk to our friends. We got a microphone. We organize. I've got thousands of people sitting in here right now. That's organized. Kamala Harris cannot get this many swing voters in a room. And to top it all off, we're just getting started? Damn! We ain't even done yet? We never took a holiday. We never took a day off. We never got off the field. And we just getting started. We're not going anywhere. Yes, real talk. Real talk. So brothers and sisters, hell yeah, we shook things up and we're going to continue to do so. Now there's some other folks out there who are very angry, very mad, don't know what to do. Life is rough on them. You've seen some of those people here before.
Oh, no! 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 Why?
Is she a nurse? Is she wearing a nurse's outfit, by the way? Is she a nurse? I told you all about those nurses. Everybody knows about nurses. So, yeah, you know about crazy chicks. Everybody know about them nurses, but they're not the only ones. Not the only ones. She wants you to know that because you didn't vote the right way here, keep your hands off her body.
And I think all women should stop having sex for the next 4 years.
Why? So there'll be more for you? And she's using a filter. Damn! Y'all, this is her with the filters on. Oh, goodness. This is with the filters on. And don't think for a moment that she's the only one. Fellas, the ladies want to let y'all know that since you didn't support their abortion rights and you let Trump get in the White House, some of the women want you all to know that they put you on notice that you ain't gonna be able to get no sex.
Like, I full on removed myself from Hinge, Bumble. Like, I didn't even think twice about it.
So what she's saying is that she is no longer on Hinge or Bumble, so that men who go on the site, she will no longer pop up on their timelines. Ma'am, I think I speak on behalf of all the men of Hinge, Bumble, Rumble, Stumble, Match, Mismatch, and everything else when I say, ma'am, can I get that in writing? Can I get that in writing? Yes, ma'am. If we can get your name on the dotted line that you are gone and will not return, then I think we'll consider our business concluded.
There's no way I am letting any man near me. I am letting any man near me.
Oh, a woman so big that she has her own gravitational pull is telling you that she's not going to let a man near her. So I just thought I would make that observation.
For the next 4 years, I am going to abstain from schmex with men.
Okay, y'all. To the fellas out there, to all the white dudes and some of the fellas out there, some of the brothers who frequent the trailer park, I just want you to know that Trailer Park Tina is letting you know that after all these years and triple-digit body counts, that she is now pulling back. She has let y'all do everything else you wanted to do, but now because of Trump, she just she got to draw the line. So the trailer park is officially closed.
And funny enough, I actually just broke up with my boyfriend.
Y'all, they're shaving their heads. I mean, the mental and emotional trauma is being exposed. I don't know if we should be upset with Trump or if we should send him a thank you card from the mental health community of professionals.
Ain't no way in hell I'm leaving my man. I'm not here to judge anybody doing this 4B movement, but telling people to divorce their husbands is crazy.
Y'all remember I had old girl last week and she was talking about her boyfriend and stuff. I did not say for her to break up with him. I'm just lamenting. I was like, oh, she giving ultimatums. I never said to break up with him. I never would suggest such a thing. I would never say that to anybody. I don't do no mess like that. The rest of these folk do. So, I mean, it's always Magilla Gorilla or somebody like that telling you all, threatening y'all what it's going to be. So it's just letting the fellas out there know that there are a few less females on Hinge and Bumble and Plenty of Fish. There's a few less females in it now. There are a few. Who the hell they fooling? Now, if you don't believe that this chick right here if Chad show up in her DMs, if you don't think this chick right here is good to go, then clearly you don't recognize faces. So they gonna keep doing what they do. They posted this up here. Giga Chad is going to have no issues whatsoever getting her to respond like they always have been. I broke up with my boyfriend. I want to find out from him how great this relationship was. I like to find out from him because if you're this big of a damn autocratic bully, you've done him a favor. That's what's happening over there with them. Going nuts out there, folks. Who ever thought one little old election would cause that to happen? Well, I did, and I'm just letting you know that, by the way, when they see that this wasn't a fluke and we're going to keep the heat on them, it's going to get even worse. Mark my words, it'll get even worse for them. They got a lot to say, they're crying and complaining, and when we get done, they'll have a lot more to complain about. When we get finished, there'll be a lot more to complain about. I want to thank everyone here who tuned into Tuesday's program. That was a bit of a new thing for me here. I got a tremendously positive response out of it. Tremendously positive response. So I would like to officially announce that I told you all last year and this year that there would be changes at the Black Channel, changes in how do we do things. You got to see a bit of that Tuesday. That's something that I have in mind. So I am going to officially announce to you all here that I will be doing that again. What? We will be doing that again. Who knows? It might become a regular thing. Still working on getting some of the technical bugs worked out of it to have a setup that works the way I want it to, because you know me, I try to stay mobile. I try to go to different places. So having a setup that is, more mobile, that's I'm still working that out to a certain degree if you're going to have, a bunch of folk doing things, but be looking for us to do that again in the future. Be looking for that again in the future. And who knows, maybe you'll be a part of it next time. Maybe you will. It could happen. I'd like to say one last thing here. I want to thank everyone who has stuck together, not stuck by me, but stuck together. We had a whole lot of people who have fallen off along the way, a whole bunch of folk who pretended to be about this and in reality they were not. That's just the normal thing, man. That's just normal. I've always told you that the people who came with us into this year, whichever year it is, they will not all be joining us the next year. That's the natural course of events. Many of you are parents. You have children. I'm talking about children you're actually raising. You have jobs. You live in these overpriced ass gentrified major metropolitan areas. You're working to make ends meet. You're trying to hold it together for yourself. And yet you've done your best to stick by what we're doing. Not because it was easy, but because it was difficult. And I would like to say, that's me clapping for you. I know it has not been easy. I know you've had people who are attacking you. Some of you related to them. Hell, some of you in bed with them right now. What? And I would like to say that I acknowledge what you've been through. I acknowledge what you've had to deal with, and you don't have an audience. I acknowledge that. I know it hasn't been easy, but I want to acknowledge your courage and your persistence and your steadfastness in sticking with all of us. It has not gone unnoticed, not by me. It's a thankless job. No one's going to sing our praises. No one's going to remember our names. But we didn't do this to get famous or popular or rich or notorious. If you want that, then go join Beyonce if you want to be famous. And go kiss Mark Cuban's ass if you want to be rich. But if you want to change the world for your people, this is where you do it. And for all of you who, despite the seeming setbacks and the long periods and the delays and feeling like you're just spinning your wheels, and if you ever wondered if we really had an effect and if we were ever really going to change things and ever make a difference, I hope that this has proven to you that, yes, we are relevant. Yes, we make a difference. And if you don't believe me, go see what happens when you go tell people now, no reparations, no vote.
And deal with it, nigga.
It used to be that they kind of mocked you and, you kind of silly. Let them know now, Trump's in the White House because no reparations, no vote. And then watch them folk go crazy for the few who will actually speak, because now they're the ones on the run. They're the ones cowering and quiet. You let them know where you stand, and all of a sudden when they blow up at you, it's like, yeah, that's that screaming and yelling they're doing. That's the sound of empowerment. It's been a long, hard road, but I think you can see we've made progress. Now let's finish the job. I would like to thank all of you who have contributed to tonight's program. Cassandra, Royston, J. Frost, everybody in the super chat, Mr. Wilburn, everybody on PayPal, Venmo, whatever else. I want to thank all of you. You could have done something else, but you've chosen to support what we do. Thank you for that. Thank you to all of you who have tuned in from the first day, or if you just joined us yesterday. Thank you to all of you who have remained focused and put your time and attention here. Thank you to all of you who have watched live or recorded. Thanks to all of you who voted. To all of you who voted either in the voting booth or on the couch. Don't ever doubt that you made a difference. I'm showing you. Yes, you did. You feel like it was a little thing, but a bunch of people doing a little thing can create tsunamis. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program. Thank you for watching live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. Thank you for remaining Black first, as always. Be one till the end of time. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from all around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.